Hello, thank you so much for viewing this channel. A few days ago, the Mafia Trilogy was recently announced, and I wanted to do a quick video going over everything we know so far, and what we can expect on May 19th, when more details are supposed to be announced. There will not be any spoilers in this video, but I will go a bit over the first and second games. I have not played the third one yet, but heard it was a slight step back in the series. I haven't played these games in a while, so if I do make a mistake, I apologize. Now, without further delay, let's begin. Mafia was released in 2002 and developed by Illusion Softworks, and follows Tommy Angelo, who finds himself forced into helping two members of the Solari family, Polly and Sam, escape an ambush by the Morello family. After fleeing from them, you go to a restaurant owned by their mob boss, Don Eno Solari. Tommy is paid for his deed and promised a favor. The next day, he is attacked by thugs from the Morello family, who track him down and attempt to kill him for assisting the Solari family. Tommy manages to escape and goes to the restaurant to call in his favor. After the thugs are killed, you begin to do jobs for the family. I'll stop there as, again, I don't want to spoil the game, but just know the story is amazing. I've always loved mob stories, and this one did not disappoint. The setting for Mafia takes place in the 1930s in Lost Haven, and is stunning. I absolutely love history, and the 1930s are no exception. I think that point in time offers something of a new era. People fleeing their countries with dreams of making something of themselves, most arriving with nothing on their backs but a dream. Mafia captures that tone very well with classic cars, clothing, how people act and talk, and even buildings that we can visit. Looking at some of the photos we have from the upcoming trilogy, I am glad to say the game looks like a proper remaster, with time and effort going into it. The gameplay is fairly standard, and for me it's the most underwhelming part of the game. It's not to say it's bad. It's not at all. You have your standard shooting, driving, and roaming the open world. I think obeying traffic signs and speed limits add to the realism the game is trying to convey. But for me, the gameplay was just a means to get to the next mission, and see what lies in store for Tommy. Overall, the game was excellent, especially for its time, and if you love great mob stories, or engaging stories altogether, Mafia is certainly a game worth playing. Mafia II was released in 2011, and developed by 2K Czech, which was originally Illusion Softworks. The story follows Vito Scaletta. In the beginning, you get caught stealing, and are forced to join the military. After returning from the war, you find it very difficult to make it in Empire Bay. Times are tough, but you try to persevere. However, you then realize it's nearly impossible to make it in this town, with the education and skills you have, especially when your best friend Joe is having a pretty good life doing jobs for the mob, a life you couldn't possibly have, following the rules. The setting takes place in the 1940s and 50s in the fictional city of Empire Bay, which is basically New York. And like the first one, they nail the tone perfectly. It's hard to describe the setting without sounding like a broken record. I truly felt like I was living in the era this story takes place in. Take Mama's apartment, for example. When you are about to dig into dinner, Mama scolds you for not saying grace. As you begin the prayer, the camera pans to an overhead shot, revealing how small and simple this place truly is. If you look closely, you can see stains on the walls and the cloth at the table. How cold and creaky the hardwood floors would be in the morning, and even how chilling the place can become during the heart of the winter. But the place is layered with photos and trinkets. The family doesn't have much, but they do their best to turn this place into a home. You will also see little touches similar throughout the game. Richie Valens blasting on the radio as you cruise down the city in your classic car, hearing snippets of ads informing you of the latest cars and household items, to era-appropriate clothing you and your comrades wear as you casually walk down the street. The developers worked very hard nailing the setting, and it certainly shows. Again, the gameplay is not bad, but it is ultimately a victim of its story. The tale was just too damn engaging. I liked selling cigarettes and sneaking into hotels, or even shooting. But I did constantly find myself wanting to rush through whatever mission I was given, in order to get back to the story. Also, these games can be a bit difficult to get used to. I died a lot, and the driving can be wonky. Nothing game-breaking, and I'm sure it will be fixed with the trilogy. This was my favorite game in the series, and Vito was my favorite protagonist. The first two games were amazing and had many standout characters, from Joe to Polly and Sam. If you love great stories, these games are definitely for you. Now, let's go over some of the stuff we know regarding the upcoming trilogy. All three games will be available for current gen, and I suspect next gen as well, with updated graphics for at least the first and second games, which should also mean a slight change in controls, tightening up the gameplay for a smoother experience. A Microsoft Store page recently announced the remastered games, giving it a release date set for August 28th. On May 19th, an official announcement will be made regarding the trilogy. This is just a prediction of mine, but I'm going to assume we may get info on Mafia 4 as well. I see no way there is not a new Mafia game in the works, and this would be the perfect time to announce the game. I think the trilogy is just a way to drum up hype and support for the eventual release of Mafia 4. Hangar 13 will take the helm again. It makes sense concerning they made the third entry, and even though it had its flaws, it would give the studio the opportunity to improve on their vision. I could do a complete dive-in on Mafia 1 and 2 if there's interest, but in all honesty I don't think many would want that, seeing we will have all three games in our hand very soon. We will have more info regarding the game on the 19th, and if there is love and care put into these games, I could easily see it as one of the best games of 2020. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and I hope to talk to you again soon.